Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in again with me here this week on MS&Me Radio. And my name is Anisha, of course. I know y'all probably all know that by now and don't need me to say that. But again, thank you guys for tuning in with me. And this week we are going to talk about something that I think a lot of us deal with, and that is fatigue. Okay? Fatigue. It's a monster. It is a beast. I honestly think that it is one of the worst parts of living and dealing with multiple sclerosis. But this week I'm going to take this topic on, and we're going to talk about it. And hopefully you guys will get some great information, and also here at the end, maybe learn a few little tips to kind of help you cope with it, or how you need to go about getting the help that you need to kind of get through with it, because I definitely know how tough it can be. Okay. There are several different kinds of fatigue that occur with people that have MS. People with bladder dysfunction, okay, that's really important to remember. Bladder dysfunction. Because if you're waking up a lot during the night to go and use the bathroom, that is disrupting your sleep pattern, okay? So that can then leave you feeling more tired whenever you wake up, okay? Also, the nighttime muscle spasms, that happens to a lot of us as well, where back in the day my mom used to call them Charlie horses, but again, I call these, with the spasticity, they're Charlie horses on crack. Those things will wake you dead up out of a sleep, and you're up for a while till you can get it out, and you've still kind of got that soreness there. So trying to get yourself back into, kind of stage 4 of a deep restful sleep is really difficult to do. In people with bladder dysfunction and the muscle spasms, or spasticity, as we call it, you may be sleep deprived and suffer from fatigue because of it. People that are depressed also may suffer from fatigue. Okay, remember that commercial that came out, and I remember I was so sad whenever I saw that commercial with depression. And, it talked about that, and, the person just looked kind of down and out. And, depression can do that. It can cause you to be tired. Anyone with MS who needs to expend considerable energy and effort just to accomplish daily tasks like brushing your teeth, getting dressed, taking a shower, that's one that can just absolutely exhaust you. Cooking, cleaning, you may suffer from additional fatigue because of just doing these simple things that we often took for granted before we ended up having MS, because they just seemed so mundane of task. It was no big deal, and then all of a sudden these things are a huge deal, and you expend so much energy to be able to do that. So please keep that in mind when we talk about fatigue here. Also, in addition to those, with fatigue, there's another kind of fatigue it's honestly unique to people with MS, okay? And it's referred to as lassitude fatigue, and that's lassitude, lassitude fatigue. And they have already begun to outline the characteristics of this type of, they've named it that, that type of MS fatigue, that makes it different from just regular fatigue experienced by people without MS. Okay. And some of those characteristics of lassitude fatigue with a person with MS, it generally occurs daily. It may occur early in the morning, even after a restful night's sleep. It's like, say you've slept good all night, and you wake up and you feel like you have not slept at all. Like, I go through that so much where I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I was like sawing logs and building homes and, everything. And I'm like still so tired whenever I wake up. So, that's another one of those characteristics that's there with that. It worsens as the day progresses. Okay, so imagine waking up already feeling tired. So then, as you go through the day, guess what? You're just becoming even more tired. Heat and humidity also can aggravate it. So you can step outside and it's a little, it's a hot day or it's really humid, and not only does your hair get big and you start looking like bozo, but you also become, more tired. That's part of that lassitude fatigue. It comes on easily and very sudden. Okay, it can be just very sudden that you might feel seemingly okay, tired, but yeah, you're all right, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, it just hits you like a truck. Okay. It's more severe than normal fatigue. Like, I'll have people say to me, I'm tired. And don't get me wrong, I don't discredit, anybody's tired, none whatsoever. But I tell you, boy, somebody with MS can definitely, somebody with any illness, to be honestly, to be honest with you, the fatigue that can come along with them. But, here in this case with MS, it's no joke. And then also with lassitude fatigue, it's more likely to interfere with your daily task and responsibilities. Okay. For example, a daily task is showering, getting dressed, brushing your teeth, cooking if you're still able to do so, or cleaning if you're able to do so. That this lassitude or MS fatigue, it interferes with all of that. I have so many people tell me, Anisha, it's really hard for me to, take a shower. I'm so exhausted. I have to sit down on the bed for about 30 minutes, after I'm done showering before I can even, say put my lotion on or get dressed or, anything like that. Like, even as simple as taking a shower just absolutely exhausts you. Okay. So keep in mind that that's called lassitude fatigue. And again, that's lassitude fatigue. Okay. And I want you guys to remember too that MS related fatigue, it does not appear to be directly linked with either depression or a degree of physical impairment. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. With MS, we do deal with depression. So sometimes there could be both, which equals another disaster. Okay. If you're depressed and then you're also dealing with, this lassitude fatigue. But sometimes you can have just lassitude fatigue and not be depressed, and sometimes it can be both. But either way, you definitely want to make sure that you're on top of it, and you're plug for one of my last shows, you're journaling, throughout your day. Like, when you start to get tired, or if you wake up tired, make sure that you write that down. Make sure that you write down what time you went to bed, what time you're waking up, that whole thing. And it's gonna give you a picture of what's going on. And then whenever you go in with your doctor, it's also gonna give your doctor a very good picture of kind of what's going on with you as well. Okay, that's very important. Now, with managing fatigue, always keep in mind that with fatigue can also be caused by treatable medical conditions like depression. Once again, that's treatable. thyroid disease or anemia. Again, with low iron, that can cause people to be really tired. And some of these things can occur as a side effect to medications that are used. Okay. So keep that in mind. So, like, if you see that you're like really, really tired, and it's like, man, this is not like me, something's going on. And also, too, there with anemia, I also want people to know that even with a vitamin D deficiency, that brings about a bit of being fatigued as well. Okay, so not just anemia, but think about your vitamins as well, because anything that's off, if you're depleted in vitamins, vitamin D is a big one that will also make you very tired and very sore as well. Okay, excuse me, but fatigue can also be the result of inactivity. Okay. So believe it or not, it's like when, you think, okay, I'm just going to sit and I'm not going to do anything because I'm really tired. So I'm just going to chill out and I'm going to relax. And then the next day you decide you're going to do that same thing. And then, 2 to 3 weeks later, you've gotten into this whole pattern where you're just being inactive. Guess what? That's honestly not going to help you with being tired. Okay. Being inactive will actually cause you to be more tired. Okay. It will cause you to be more tired. So that's something that you have to keep in mind too. And people with MS should definitely talk with your doctor if fatigue becomes a problem. Okay. Now, so many people are always like, I'm really tired and, I don't know what to do. And, you'll see them, kind of chatting about stuff, in groups and things like that. And, it's like, what do you do for it? Or, blah, 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 blah. My first suggestion to people is always going to be what? You need to talk to your doctor. Okay. That's always going to be my first go to, my staple that I am going to tell people, because there could be something treatable, like something with maybe you're depressed, maybe there's an issue with your thyroid, maybe you are anemic, maybe there's a vitamin D deficiency, and only your doctor can order that lab work to really get a clear picture of what's going on with you, so that, again, you and your doctor are on the same page and your doctor's tracking everything that's going on with you. Tracking like a VCR. That's quite an old phrase, right? Because nobody really uses VCRs anymore. But that's something we used to always say in the military. It used to crack me up. But you definitely want to talk to your doctor, about that. And your doctor will then do a comprehensive evaluation that can help identify those factors that are contributing to you being so fatigued, and then make it possible to develop a plan or an approach that best suits you. Okay. Because what may suit me may not be good for you, and what suits you may not be good for me. You know what I mean? Because we all are different. That's why they call this a snowflake disease. It's because no two snowflakes look alike. Okay. When you look at them, through a camera lens or under a microscope or whatever, no two look alike. So what may work for me, it definitely may not work for you. And the person that's going to know, if something is going to work for you or not, it's going to be, your doctor. You guys are going to sit down and you're going to come, together and come up with a plan of, what's going to be, beneficial for you. And then doing that comprehensive workup with looking at things in labs and things of that nature, to figure out what is going on with you. That's very important. Again, always keeping your doctor involved in everything and journaling everything is so important. Okay. It will literally bridge and foster communication between you and your doctor, and keep that communication very positive, very open, and very transparent between the two of you, because fatigue from MS and having MS is no joke. Okay. So we always want to have transparency. Okay. But in involving our doctors and letting our doctors know that we are dealing with fatigue, and if we have MS, we're dealing with lassitude fatigue. Okay. There's options that the doctor can help us out with. Okay. Such as occupational therapy that can help to, simplify tasks that you do at work and at home. Okay. For example, if you look at a ceiling fan and then let's say you're thinking, oh, fix it, Jesus, I got to stand up on a bed and, try to reach this. And first of all, that's a no-go. Okay. Nobody, please stand up on a bed and try to do anything when you have MS. Okay. And I'll actually tell y'all a story in just a minute, but I'm afraid I'm going squirrel here. So let me finish this occupational therapy thought and then I'll come back to that. Okay. But with, like say a ceiling fan, there's like these and I actually have them where you can stand on the ground and then you pull this whole thing out, and it kind of reaches over like an arm, like almost like a Swiffer thing, but it has like the adjustable cleaning end on it. And you stand on the ground and guess what? It's taking minimal effort for you to be able to do it that way by buying that to help you to be able to clean things. Okay. It's definitely more, ergonomical for you and definitely not expending so much energy for you to be able to get those simple tasks like that completed. Okay. Now I'll tell y'all this, it was so dumb what I did. Okay. I had a smoke alarm that was going off in my house, right? And it was one that was placed by the home security company. So they told me, well, okay, it's upstairs, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, all right. So then I go up there and then the lady's like, well, can you get it down? And I'm like, ma'am, I have MS. Like, I have no business. And then she's like, no, you should be fine. How tall are you? And I tell her, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking the negative Ghost Rider, Anisha, you do not need to do this. You're going to hurt yourself. You know what I mean? So I get up there anyway even though I was fighting myself on it, I get up there anyway. And I turn the thing and, change the battery like she told me to. And, I put the phone there on the banner and, she's talking to me on speakerphone and I, put it back in there and she tells me everything's good to go. Then she calls me back like 5 minutes later. Okay. And she tells me that it's still messing up. And I'm like, well, I don't understand because I did everything that you told me to do, And she's like, okay, I want you to go back up there again. And she's like, because I heard it whenever it kind of seated, when it locked in. And she's like, okay, so go back up there. And then she's like, get on the chair. As soon as I got on the chair, this thing fell and it hit me in my forehead. It hit me in my forehead. It rolled on the carpet. Then it rolled down to the first floor and it busted on the hardwood floor. So I hear, gank, gank, gank. This thing's just going off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, So I'm trying to figure out what to do. So then I slide on my butt all the way down the stairs. I get to the panel and I turn everything off. And I'm like, lady, ma'am, will you please call so that the fire truck doesn't come? Because, they're going to come out and I don't want this bill. You know what I mean? And she's like, no, I've already, gotten a hold of them and they're not going to come out. So then I'm sitting there and my great army ears, I hear these heavy engines and I'm like, what's going on? And then here's freaking 2 big old fire trucks and an ambulance and the neighborhood's all lit up. This was like around Christmas time. It's like Santa had freaking came. The neighborhood's all red. I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. One guy's coming up with an axe in his hand. So I'm thinking, what is this? Freddy versus Jason? Come on. Yeah. So I definitely learned a valuable lesson then, and that was never again. You know what I mean? Never, ever, ever am I going to stand up on anything because I ended up having to, get like some glue, on my head there because it had busted open, Absolutely nuts. But yeah. Honestly, I'll let y'all learn through my mistakes, okay? Just don't do stuff like that. Please get somebody else to do it. Please always remain safe. Please don't get on a ladder. Don't do any of these things when you have MS, okay? Because safety is what's most important, okay? And also when thinking about doing tasks at your house and, when you need to clean and stuff like that, what's always good is to help you with that fatigue is kind of plan your stuff out. Think about there's 5 days in a week, Monday through Friday, and say you're going to take the weekend off as your rest days. Okay. Take Monday through Friday and say you have, four bedrooms in your house, then, take one day, for the bedrooms, you know what I mean? One per bedroom, and then like the bathrooms, which are usually smaller, a little less, whatever. And then, of course, if you just kind of nightly do your kitchen kind of thing, you're going to be less likely to do this whole crash and burn thing, where if you have a good day and then you're like, I'm going to clean my whole house, I'm going to knock it all out, and then you do that all in one day, and the next thing you know, you're in the bed for 5 days because you just really practiced that crash and burn theory and you did too much. Okay, so occupational therapy, they honestly teach you how to do things like that and to map things out so that you simplify your task and how you do them. Okay, and that will help you to be able to do it using less energy, okay, and spreading it out over the course of days. Okay, it's really important that you do that because this fatigue is honestly no joke. Okay. Also, physical therapy. Physical therapy can help you learn energy saving ways when you walk. That's with or without a device. And also performing other daily tasks as well. And they can also help you to develop a regular exercise program. Now, they are not going to get you in there and say, guess what? We're going to have you looking like Superman in freaking 6 weeks. That is absolutely not going to happen. Okay. They're going to start at your level, at your ability, of where you're at, and then you guys are going to build from there. Okay, don't get me wrong, I get it. As I've said before, physical therapy can be a very painful thing. Okay, but if you stick with it, what is once painful, the more that you use it, okay, it becomes less painful. Okay, as you continue to go on. Okay, so just remember that it's painful to start, and I get it, I understand, but please know that it also is important to keep you moving. Okay, also the doctor can help you with sleep regulation. Okay, one way too, sometimes it is important, and again, all of this can happen by what? Communicating with your doctor. Okay, and letting him know about your sleep and how tired you are and everything like that. Okay, but many doctors sometimes will go ahead and order a sleep study, okay? Because it could be that you're having maybe some sleep apnea. There could be a few little hidden things that are in there, So that's why it's important, to talk to your doctor about this stuff because, with sleep, regulation, there are things that are treatable sometimes that are other MS symptoms like the bladder and the spasticity that's waking you up at night, that they can treat those symptoms, to help you get better sleep. Okay. And that is very important because again, the more rest that you get, the more that you're able to charge that battery, the better that you're going to feel. Okay. So that's something that is extremely important in keeping that communication open with your doctor. Okay. Now, also stress management. Now, that's a word sometimes when, you always hear people say, you don't need stress with MS. Got it. Okay. But I also am a realist and I know that stress is going to happen because stress is just a part of life. But at that same time, it's important that you realize how to handle the stress when it does come, okay? That you deal with the situation, you get it behind you, and then you continue to go forward, okay? Because continuing to stress about things or have things on your mind and things like that, that can honestly disrupt your sleep, okay? Without you even realizing it. All right, it definitely can do that. So that's why I tell people to hunt that good stuff. Plug from another show. At nighttime before you go to bed, write down some positive things that happen to you throughout the day so that you're ending your day and going to sleep on a positive note. That's always a good thing. And also relaxation training. That is deep breathing, practicing that. Maybe some yoga. I do believe there's some organizations out there that have some DVDs that they'll send you with yoga, even, if there's all kinds of stuff, apps, whatever, YouTube, where you can get into some relaxation training. And, again, these are things that your doctor can help you with as well. Another thing that's important to look at too is heat management. Okay. Because being overheated can also cause you to be very, very fatigued. Okay. So it is important that you know how to cool yourself down, because as much as 1 degree of a core temperature change with MS can, set everything off. Again, pseudo exacerbation from, I don't remember if it was the last show or whatever. MS brain. Sorry about that. But, it can cause that, and then it can also cause this fatigue that we're talking about, the lassitude fatigue. Because don't get me wrong, it is always there, but you want to learn how to manage and cope with it, okay? And also your doctor can help you out with medications, okay? There are some medications that are used in helping people that are tired, dealing with the fatigue. And I got a little moment of spasticity there, so y'all work with me. Goodness gracious. There's Nuvigil, there's Provigil, there's Adderall. Those are 3 that I can think of off the top of my head, that doctors use to, help people with their fatigue. Okay. And again, your doctor to help you deal with your fatigue. It's very important, because I see people say all the time, well, what do you take? What does that person take? And the next person take? Again, this should be a very informed, concise decision between you and your doctor. Your doctor looking at your history and everything about you, and you talking to your doctor and being transparent. Again, journaling about your fatigue and looking at about what time it starts, if it's when you first wake up, all those type of things. And then if it is medication that you guys decide to go with, that you and your doctor are making the best decision by you. Okay. That is what is most important. It is a great relationship between doctor and patient, and what is going to work best for you. Okay. That is so important. And I'm sure by now you guys know that I'm very big on, people having open communications with their doctor. And I do feel that that is extremely important. I'll say that again, and I'll say that a million times, because it is important. And I think one of the most almost crippling parts to this disease is the fatigue. It honestly is. There are some days that I am so tired that I honestly don't even, I'm just like, oh man, really? I got to do, but you know what? I still get up. I still get her done. I still do what I need to do. And another thing that may be beneficial for you guys is, and again, this is just a tip, it's a suggestion, it's something that, I've learned to do, and it's helped me out a lot. My day is mapped. Okay. It is mapped from, what time I get up, to what time I'm going to brush my teeth, to what time I'm going to shower, what time I'm going to eat breakfast, what time I'm going to do all these things. It's all mapped out. Okay. Because honestly, when you're living with a chronic illness, even if it's not MS, okay, structure is very good. Okay. The more structure that you can put into your day, the better that you will thrive within the illness. Okay. Because you're still keeping to your structure that you have set out. And then when it comes to naps, because don't get me wrong, I realize that we are very tired when we have MS, but the more that we nap during the day, we are not allowing our brains to get, like, say, a normal sleep pattern when looking at the serotonin levels and things like that. It's hard for that good sleep wake schedule to come at night. So please consider the fact that the doctor is most likely going to talk to you about cutting back on naps during the day, or having a very scheduled, structured nap, which might be for an hour and a half or 2 hours during the day. Okay. And that is absolutely okay, because in the end, that's part of just creating very good sleep hygiene to help you to be able to manage in the disease process. Okay. It's all just some tips to help you out with fatigue and coping with it. Okay. All right. So I appreciate you guys tuning in with me this week, and I hope that this really helped you out and helped you learn a little bit about fatigue, and again, lassitude fatigue, and a few of those tips there to help you out with managing and coping with it. And again, my name is Anisha, And I love you guys so, so much. And if there is anything at all that you guys ever want to talk about, feel free to look me up on Facebook and send me a message and just let me know and we'll talk about it. Okay? Love you guys. Have a great week.